Even if you don't keep up with the independent gaming community, it's probable that you're familiar with the title Hello Neighbor. The game, like its sinister antagonist, has been lingering in the shadows for some time. Despite the fact that the Hello Neighbor Kickstarter campaign in 2015 did not meet its funding target, developers still continued working on the game. Over the course of the previous few years, they have launched a number of alpha and beta builds. These releases have attracted a handful of passionate YouTube supporters who have contributed to the game capturing a small, yet committed fan base. Tiny Build Games and Steel Wool Studios made the announcement that they will be launching a new virtual reality variation on the independent blockbuster game Hello Neighbor to PSVR and PSVR 2 next year. Now, the studios have said that they want to launch the game on Quest and Rift in the early part of 2023 as well. If you haven't played Hello Neighbor before, it's a horror game that focuses on sneaking into your neighbor's house to find out what terrible things he's keeping hidden in the basement. If you haven't played it yet, you should. The artificial intelligence of the neighbor learns from every action you do. So if you discover a beautiful window to climb through on a regular basis, the next time you visit the area, you will probably find a bear trapped there. There's nothing quite as terrifying as actually seeing the recognizable shadow tower over you right before everything goes dark inside Mr. Peterson's eerie mansion, which takes on a unique level of immersion when experienced in virtual reality. You will go back to that house in the game Hello Neighbor, Search and Rescue, where you will play the part of one of 6 brave children from the neighborhood who must face their phobias in order to rescue a friend who is being held captive in a strange prison in the basement. In order to solve riddles, uncover secrets, and escape it out of the neighbor's house safely, all while attempting not to get noticed by the creepy neighbor himself, you will need to learn and master each of their distinct powers. You should not interact with the neighbor under any circumstances. On the other hand, he may not be the only foe you face as you try to free your comrade and make your epic escape from captivity. We are going to take a look at a few interesting things provided by this stealth horror game. Number 1. Numerous playable characters. The best part about this game is that you can outsmart artificial intelligence by using different characters. Each distinct character possesses a set of defining equipment and abilities that are unique to them. Alternate between the points of view of the members of the rescue squad team at will, working together to solve riddles and staying one step ahead of the neighbor as you make your way down into the sinister basement. Number 2. Environmental puzzles demand innovative solutions. You will need to use your brains more and more to find alternative answers to a varied selection of puzzles and difficult environmental obstacles as the game progresses. In order to solve several riddles, which at first look might appear to be unsolvable, you will need to employ the perspectives of multiple characters in concert with one another. 3. Non-linear investigation. Alternating views and mixing character abilities to effectively solve puzzles, expose hidden mysteries, and disclose new passageways through your environment are some of the ways you might utilize your own strategy to infiltrate Mr. Peterson's residence. And number 4 is Face Your Fears. Explore nightmare-like dream sequences while gaining more insight into the mysteries that lie within the Hello Neighbor universe. Now these were just a few things that needed a good amount of attention from the audience. However, let's talk about a few pros and cons of this game. First, we will take a look at the pros. Number 1. The game is extensive and has a decent enough premise. While the majority of games in such genre aren't quite long enough for players to enjoy, Hello Neighbor is going to keep you focused around the clock. Number 2. Requires a good amount of stealth focus. If you are someone who enjoys stealth games, this one is for you, because your stealth skills will definitely be put to the test. Number 3. You get to experience 3 storylines within the game. Let's talk about it a bit more in detail. You see, the story of Hello Neighbor takes place over the course of several years and is broken up into 3 acts. In the first act of the game, you take on the role of a young boy who claims to have seen his frightening mustachioed neighbor lock someone in his basement. In Act 2, it is your responsibility to make your way out of the basement. In Act 3, your player, who has become a grown-up, makes a return to the game to engage in a rematch with his terrifying neighbor, who has transformed his home into a ramshackle stronghold in preparation for their confrontation. Questions like, who is the ominous person who lives next door to you? What exactly is he trying to keep a secret in his basement? How exactly did he manage to secure the necessary building permits for such hideous-looking house? Although there are hints in the game about the story of your neighbor and your relationship with him, you shouldn't get your expectations up for a straightforward or especially fulfilling narrative. Many of the parts do not go together properly, and you'd be surprised to notice that too. 4. The game is adaptive. The developers of this claimed that Hello Neighbor has advanced AI functionality, and true to their words, it is actually quite impressive. The notorious neighbor actually keeps adapting to your style of playing, and you will encounter multiple outcomes and flow of the game multiple times. Well, that's it about the pros. Coming to the cons. Number 1. Advanced AI is not difficult to outsmart. Even though I said that their advanced AI is actually impressive, you see it is not that tough to beat it. Every time it adapts, you can crack or break it as well. If you just want to vibe around and want to explore this mysterious game, its AI will definitely excite you. However, if you're looking for something of a challenge, this game won't meet up with your expectations. Number 2. Controls that are complex and not very well described. Number 3. The frustratingly arbitrary nature of the puzzle's design. Number 4. Fights against bosses that are out of place. Sometimes it can take forever to finish it if you're not skilled enough to crack it. And lastly, the game is filled with errors all over the place. Starting from technical issues and multiple glitches to sudden crashes of the game, it requires a decent amount of fixing. It is not quite clear whether Hello Neighbor VR will be released concurrently for Steam VR, Quest 2, and PSVR 2, but the page for the game on Steam indicates that it will be available on February 22, 2023. That is also the scheduled release date for the PSVR 2 system. Developers of Hello Neighbor were responsible for creating the game. Tiny Build is collaborating with VR developers Steel Wool Studios, which itself is best known for the runaway success Five Nights at Freddy's and the VR adaptation of the game, titled Five Nights at Freddy's Help Wanted. They are working in order to create an immersive virtual reality experience. Now, as we know, nobody is perfect, and the same could be said for games as well. Since it contains multiple dark, sinister activities taking place, this game has achieved poor reviews. Moreover, critics were mostly unfavorable to the game, finding fault with the gameplay, the control scheme, and the technical performance. Nevertheless, the plot and the art style were very much complimented by many. Metacritic, a website that compiles user reviews, reports that Hello Neighbor was met with generally poor reviews across all platforms. But what can we say? You see, it's very much dependent on one's choice. Have you played this game before? Did you enjoy it? Or was it not enough to meet your expectations? Please share your thoughts down in the comments below. We would love to hear what you've got to say. And if you want to get the most out of virtual reality experience, hit that subscribe button and press the bell icon for notifications so that you never miss any of our future uploads.